Well, we're here, people, and we're emotional. According to Daniel Farke, anyway, the Leeds United boss has been talking ahead of the game against Aston Villa, and I'm going to get into the comments and just pick out some of the things that are just wrong and just shows me that there's going to be no growth or any change from Daniel Farke going forward. Before I get into it, though, please like the video. It's free to do, helps out the channel immensely. Big up to every single member of the channel. Thank you for helping this thing go. If without you, it doesn't. It's as simple as that. So thank you for the support. Keep it coming. So yeah, let's get into it, man. And you know, drop your comments as well with what you think about Daniel Farke's latest comments. There's a full video on Sky Sports News for the full quotes and everything. I'm just going to pick out a few. But there's things that we've heard before from him, and it's just very evident that this man is never going to change. And there's no self-accountability. I keep saying with this guy, I said it in the championship, it's never his fault. Never his fault. It's always something else. It's never something he could have done better. It's the players, it's this, it's that. And that's something I can't stand. I just can't stand that. As a manager, you should know that there are things that you could have improved on, especially with some of the points that he was talking about when we dropped them. You know, it was his instruction to drop back against Bournemouth 25 minutes from the end. There was no need to do that. You know, he is the one that said he didn't like the first half against West Ham when we were pressing from the front and looking very dangerous in that game. As we've seen in the game since, we don't look anything like that team that played in the first half against West Ham. But there's more things like that. And look, speaking of the West Ham, he said after we beat West Ham, people said survival was confirmed, and now everyone is panicking about relegation. Well, I mean, he's obviously being, you know, extra there, shall we just say. But I've got to say, I didn't see anybody talking about survival was confirmed, because we had literally come off the back of losing to Burnley 2-0. So what I was saying, I'm not going to speak for you guys speak for yourself. What I was saying is that's 3 points back that we should have got from Burnley. You know, that West Ham game became a must win, which he hates hearing, because we didn't get the points at Burnley and games before that. So that's what. So after the West Ham game, I'm not thinking survival's confirmed. I'm thinking, I said, follow it up now. What can we do against an out of form Brighton? And as you can see from the screen, we lost 3-0 and we didn't lay a glove on Brighton that day. They were playing like they had won 5 in a row. They were playing with full confidence, and there's no way they should have been playing like that. There was more quotes from him as well, in that we've never, you know, been in the bottom 3 so far, which is factual. So that is fair. But we have lost 4 of the last 5 games, which is also factual. I was always clear. This is just one of the quotes. It was always clear how challenging this season would be for a newly promoted side, Sunderland. It was always clear, if you have a look, how the promoted side in the last year finished the season and how it would be challenging for a newly promoted side, especially in the circumstances that we had in the issues of PSR in the summer, and what we could spend was challenging on transfers. It was always a big challenge for us in order to be competitive on this level. Now I'm going to stop there, because this is where people that really defend Farke go on and say he wasn't backed enough in the summer. Well, this is where I can come in and say, what from Robbie Evans and what he said, in order to have brought in a player of substantial quality, we would have had to have let one of our other players of value go. And that means, from what I'm deciphering, is that if you bring in, let's just say we brought in a Pashao, that we would have probably had to sell a Nanto, okay? Or if we had brought in some other players that we were linked with that were quality earlier in the summer, we would have probably had to try and find a buyer for Brendan Aronson. But we already know, and this is where Farke comes in, and these are from his words from his own mouth, he wanted to integrate Harrison and Aronson into this team, and he was happy with their work rate and everything else. Meanwhile, he sends out players like Ramazani, who can probably make a difference in the final third. He would rather see them go out on loan. And that is where Farke has fault, because he wanted the kind of players that he's got in now. Even the ones recruited, like a Sean Longstaff, where we've literally bidded against ourselves there. 12 million, that is more than I would have paid. And again, I love the fact that I've got do videos, because you guys can go back and see it. I have not been enthused with that signing. I think you could get a Sean Longstaff from the Championship and do the exact same job. Albeit he's done well with some of the set pieces, but even those have fallen away in the last few games he's played. But then we go back in again, no other bids, and we put in 15 million down for him. That's a Daniel Farke instruction to get Sean Longstaff in. Signing Metcha, Bonal, who we've barely seen. These are Farke signings and he's been linked with them before. So it's all well and good saying the circumstances. On the fairness to him, no, he isn't able to attract the top players, as we saw throughout the summer as well. Look at Siddiqui, by the way. He's absolutely smashing it at Sunderland. Him and Xhaka in the middle, absolutely smashing it. But he isn't that coach to attract that kind of player, which is also factual, as evident by the summer that we've had. But the PSR thing, it was a thing. But if you had sold some players, even look at Joel Peru. Why did we keep him around? By the way, somebody said, no, we should keep Joel Peru because we're going to need him in the championship next season. I've been talking about playing Football Manager a lot. I think you guys are trying to play Football Manager in real life too, because think about it from Joel Peru's angle. He wasn't fancied at the start of last season in the championship where Joseph started. And it wasn't until Daniel Farke lost confidence in Joseph where he started to play Peru. Peru gets 19 goals, should have got more. Now we've gone up to the Premier League. He signed 2 free strikers, free, and they're not that great either. And Joe Peru has played 4 games, and they're not starts, just 4 games in total since we've come up. So on that basis, do you think Joe Peru is going to hang around at Leeds United if we're relegated and say, you know what, let me go through this again and try and go get promoted with this team? He won't be here, people. And this is the thing that people have got to understand. When we get relegated, there's certain players that have been sent out that they'll not be back here again. A lot of you keep saying about Joe Gelhardt as well. Look how Joe Gelhardt's career has gone at Leeds United. He doesn't play with that kind of freedom that he's playing now with at Hull, like he does at Leeds United. He doesn't play with that kind of freedom. It's different pressures as well playing for Hull City to Leeds United. But the way that he's been treated and the way that it's gone for him, he's not going to be here next season. So we're going to be starting with probably a few of these players from this season if we're relegated, but a few will be leaving as well, and especially ones that have not been used. They're not going to go, you know what, man, let's go down to the championship again. It's not going to happen. It's nice thinking, it's perfect, thinking, but it's not happening. Carrying on with Daniel Farke. Overall, you have to say after 11 games, we're on 11 points. It's exactly the average you need in order to survive. So overall, we're not at one game day in the relegation zone. We're always over the line, which is also quite good. And here's what I was talking about earlier. Farke believes Leeds' early season performances, where we had a softer schedule as well, have to say, should have yielded more. A 93rd minute equaliser against Bournemouth at Ellen Road still stings. He insists his side haven't won points with luck all season, despite dropping several late ones. He also admitted concerns with away form after losing to Brighton and Forest. I think it's fair, and this is him, I think it's fair to say that the last 2 away games were probably poorest period of the season so far. Performance-wise, it was not that we were played out of the park. See, again, you're not holding anyone accountable there, especially yourself. We didn't touch Brighton. Brighton had their way with us in that game. But let's continue. Out the park, we still have difficult away games at Brighton and also against the Forest side that has qualified for Europe and didn't have the best start, but spent lots of money in the summer. And we went there and had more possession than the opponent. There he is again with his possession trophy. The guy, I've just had enough of it. I'm just being real with you. And it sounds like a few people have caught up as well with, Daniel Farke should be leaving, and salute to those people. But I'm just tired of the same old things. He also said, if you watch the video, that it's an emotional fan base. And it's something I said to you guys that I thought we wouldn't hear again, because I thought that the PR people, because I know one of the PR people would have been looking and seeing, hey, Daniel, that's not going very well. Can you try and cut that out? But there must be a security thing there for this guy where he knows that he's backed by the 49ers and he's not going anywhere, or that he's quite comfortable in the knowledge that he's got another promotion on his CV. And if he's sacked before the season's out, he can say, well, I didn't get relegated and look what I had to work with in the summer. I wasn't fully backed, which is true to a certain extent. He did need a couple more attackers. He didn't get them. But what he won't say is that he was a big part of the reason why we recruited some of the players that we did and didn't get some other players that we could have got. That's the thing. Or that we sent out some of our talented players on loan and kept some absolute nobodies and scrubs like Jack Harrison in the team. But he won't take accountability for that. So it's quite easy for him to do that. And I think that is why he is so relaxed. He usually is calm anyway in his demeanor. But obviously, when you're a football manager, your reputation is one thing, but he won't believe in here if he gets sacked without any money in his pocket. So that's why I don't feel bad for him in that way if he does get sacked. It's something that needs to happen, though, for the football club. The emotional thing, no, I am tired with that, because I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you want a less emotional fan base where only 5 fans maybe care about what happens to their football club, go somewhere else. If you don't want expectation on where there's, you know, people believing that this club can be better than what it actually is because of the resources we have, because of the name that we've got, because we should have done better in the summer as well when it comes to recruitment. Go somewhere else. Go Norwich. Go back to Norwich where you're seen as a legend. Go back to Norwich where they were pining for you, but because they thought you were going to get sacked from Leeds United, they wanted you back. That tells you everything. Norwich City is the only job that Daniel Farke has been linked with since his time at Leeds United. No other one. And there's been other jobs available, and you've had other championship managers linked with him. He's never been linked with one, except for Norwich City when they're down the bottom of the championship. Tells you everything. I'm just at the point now where, like I said in the video yesterday, even if he beats Aston Villa, we're just delaying the inevitable. We're just delaying it. And then what I've got to ask of this after, as we come to a close, is when we start to go away from this point per game thing, and when we do actually drop into the bottom three, what's going to be the stories then? I'm actually quite interested to see, because you can get off that we haven't been in the bottom three yet, because that's factually correct. You can get off that we're a point per game, factually correct. But what happens when that actually falls off? What is it then? Is it going to be that we had more possession than our opponents in 4 of our 8 losses or something? What's going to be the new metric? There just seems to be a lot of excuses with very few solutions. And another thing as well, as we close, and I hope you've got to this bit, because I knew it was going to be painful this season. I had no illusions that with this team that we've got, it was going to be a painful slug. But at least play to the painful slug that we have. We should be playing meat and potatoes football. That's what this side has been built upon. It hasn't been built by playing out from the back. It hasn't been playing through a slow build-up. That's not what this team is. Play to the strengths. Put 2 up front, support them. You've got the defensive structure there already. You need to play to their strengths. This team cannot play out from the back. Okay? We don't have the players for that. Apart from Stack and Okafor and Nonto, if we ever see him again, this team isn't built like that. This should be a meat and potatoes team. And if we were losing in that way, I'd say fair enough. And if you're putting out the best players possible, which again you haven't done, I would say fair enough. Okay, you can't do any more. I understand with this team that you've got, but you're not even playing to the strengths. I criticize Calvert-Lewin, but I would love to criticize him a bit more if he was missing 2-3 headers a game. But I can't, because he doesn't get 2-3 headers a game. So again, you're talking about what we've got and the styles of play. It is no different to when he came up with Norwich before and he tried to play a way that they had no business playing. Again, go back and watch videos of when he got sacked from Norwich. You will see all the pundits and critics talking about it. He had no business playing that way, and he tried it. And again, he's doing it now, even though he doesn't have the tools to play the way that we've been seeing our team play over the last few games. But that's me. That's what I would say. I'd love to hear your thoughts on anything what Daniel Farke said. Do you agree with anything he said? And if you do, be respectful. And if you don't disagree, again, be respectful. There's a lot of people trying to sneak in a few disses. This is not that channel, people. This is not that channel. We don't do that here. Not yet, anyway. But no, listen, people, like the video and listen. I'll be back for the pre-match press conference and his presser notes. I'm sure it will be a doozy. I'll see you in the next one, people. Peace out.